Yes. Hi, my name is Sean Bowman. I'm with FandomWire. Thank you for taking time to talk with me today.
Hi.
Hey,
How's it going?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Great.
Fantastic.
Perfect. So I'm just going to hop right into the questions. And the first one is kind of for anyone. I think a lot of what makes Broken Lizard's past films so charming is the characters that you created. But in QUASI, you're doing something different in that you're taking characters and archetypes that were kind of pre-existing and putting your own unique spin on them. Did this come with any, unique challenges or anything like that?
I think it occurred to us at some point that we were like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't the first time that's like, 5 buddies do this, 5 buddies go there, 5 buddies do this. And we knew that was part of our brand and that this was going to be a big step away from that. But at the end of the day, we thought that's just really cool for us as a way of doing something different, to be like, I'm going to be a bad guy, like a villain. And he's like a legitimate sort of hero star of the movie. It's a hero's journey movie. So yeah, I think broke all of our old rules, but I think it was really cool to do that.
And I think also at the same time, it allowed us, kind of follow in the footsteps of probably our biggest influence, which is Monty Python. It really is a nod to those guys, an homage to, those great movies, Holy Grail and Life of Brian. So that was cool too.
But I think some of the challenges also were just creating this world and figuring out how to portray it. It's like we went around and around, and should we play multiple characters? What accent should we have? How should the Hunchback talk? How should the Pope talk? Should we have French accent? Should we, so there's a lot of that stuff that happened, which was very fun to try to figure that out, as you went through, which the challenges that we didn't have in, say, Super Troopers or Beer Fest,
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned this, but I think it's pretty fair to say that QUASI is your biggest film yet in terms of, scale and production values and everything like that. What was it like getting to make a film on this, much bigger scale?
It was fun. I don't know that it's like the budget was any bigger, but it has a grand kind of scope feeling kind of thing. And it's the costumes and the sets so that was a very fun thing to have that, we walk into this room and this torture chamber has been built, and it's, or the castle, and they're amazing looking. And that was an exciting thing because normally, we walk into a room and it's, the briefing room of the police station or whatever it is, or, on Tacoma, it's the fire station. And we had these same production design people who were like, oh my God, they went crazy. They're like, let me make this stuff, and they're so excited. That was the fun part, I think. Wardrobe, hair, makeup, set design.
Fireplace.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
A lot of fire.
there's so much fun that everyone had, playing in this world,
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of bits in the film that are super memorable and super fun. I think one of my favorite was one that was kind of a throwaway, but I thought it was really funny, was the jester with the bad jokes.
Yes.
Were there any jokes that got cut from the film from the jester?
Well, the jester does those like, hey, have you heard the one about the 3 holes in the ground with water in them? Well. Have you heard the one about the jump rope? Skip it.
Like stuff I tell to my 6-year-olds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dad jokes, but really bad dad jokes.
Yeah.
Medieval jokes.
Yeah. So we did a bunch of those, and probably like 1 or 2 made them.
Yeah, a bunch of them are on the cutting room floor, but
But that's how it goes.
Run a series.
Yeah, the jester
Yeah.
really gets put through the ringer. Ultimately,
Rightfully so.
yeah, he sucks.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and I think another one of my favorite parts of the film is Mr. Chandrasekhar's performance as King Yi. What were some of your inspirations for this character?
The many inspirations.
Okay, first of all, it's not Mr. Chandrasekhar. Okay, it's the brown clown.
The brown
Is my dad.
clown. I mean, my favorite, these guys make fun of me for doing multiple accents in this movie, British accents, but it's the Palpatine from Star Wars accent, which is my favorite. The most evil version of the king when he's really pissed off and does that Senator Palpatine thing. That's sort of my favorite version of it.
Yeah, no, I think that was, very memorable. And you kind of mentioned, well, all of you kind of mentioned earlier, how Monty Python and a lot of the classic comedies went into influencing this film. And you mentioned how you played several different characters. Where did that decision come from, and what was it like getting to play those different characters in the same film?
feel like we wanted to for a long time, and we started as a sketch comedy group. And I feel like when we wrote this a long time ago when we were doing live sketch, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or
Right. So it didn't feel like a particularly like crazy or dangerous thing to
Yeah.
write something like that, because back then that's what we did. We did these stage shows and changed costumes, and it was all very silly. It just ended up being a thing that the way that our career trajectory went, now it was very, very different for us.
Well, because I mean, I think, you know, in general, when we make a film, I think what makes it attractive to a studio to finance it is that we can cast other, you know, reputable actors to come be a part of it, you know, and we did that in Beer Fest and Club Dread and Super Troopers. This is a time where we walked in there and said, no, we're playing all the characters. And so you have to be in favor of that or not. And luckily we were at a point coming off Super Troopers 2 where they were in favor of that. So, and it was I think that was one of the most fun elements of making this movie, was the fact that you played different characters.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned how you guys have experience, you know, making films both within the studio system and independently. What have you noticed that's like some of the biggest differences with that? And is there one you prefer?
Well, the studio system, I mean, they're just more levels of,
Note giving.
yeah, I guess levels of, levels of note giving and just hoops to jump through, you know? But on the flip side, you have the security of knowing that people are going to see your movie, you know, and indie film is such a crapshoot in that world. So I think, you know, that's the trade-off. And luckily, I think over the years, we figured out how to navigate that system where you have to jump through the hoops and figure out how to give people what they want but still doing what you want to do. And so I think, you know, our last couple of movies have been good examples of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think one of the things that really surprised me about QUASI was that you definitely pull no punches when it comes to the satire. How did you guys, you know, kind of get away with some of the satire that you guys did in the film?
And it remains to be seen how much we get away with it. So I'll discuss in 2 months
Yeah.
what we've
Any
got.
boycotts?
When there are only 4 members and Paul has been assassinated.
Excommunicated.
Yeah.
It's true. Because, you know, now we are in the Disney company. So you get notes, you know, make sure your hunchback doesn't look like our hunchback. You get notes like that, you know, and
I want to, on a scale of 1 to 10, how scared are you of people, the religious people coming after you?
people coming after the Pope.
I'm just trying not to think about it. Just trying not to think about it.
Stay away from the Vatican.
My standing invitation to the Vatican City has probably been revoked, so never get to check that off my bucket list.
Although the current Pope is from Argentina, so like, you know.
Can you hook
can-
me up?
I
Can
think
you put in a
hook
good
us
word?
up?
I think I got it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, one of the things that has always stood out to me about your films, and I think really shines through in this one, is that you guys are having a lot of fun doing it. You know, you guys are getting to make a movie with your friends, basically.
Yeah.
And what do you think is your favorite part about doing that?
I think part of it is the fact that we kind of go away and we do things on our own. And so when you do come back together, it makes it kind of special. And you're like, oh, you know, I remember how this was, or I remember this way. Because we're very comfortable acting together in scenes and comfortable taking chances and improvising and that kind of stuff. And that really comes out, you know, when you get back into this situation. And so I think this movie was a very good example of that, of us, you know, being comfortable improvising. I think it comes across on the screen.
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
It's nice to not have to worry about like, I mean, when you're with your friends the whole time, you don't have to worry about like how like a more established actor thinks of you, you know, or how like, you know, you're just, it's just our thing. We're doing our thing, and everywhere you look, there's a friendly face.
Yeah, I mean,
Comfortable.
in like Super Troopers movies, I'm always terrified of fucking up in front of Brian Cox. So, you know, that part of it. But in terms of these guys, like, I just, you know, it's my buddies. So I'm not, you know, I'm not ever sweating like, am I gonna miss my mark? Am I gonna drop my line? Whatever. It's just, it's your buddies.
Brian Cox, he always gives me acting tips while I'm acting.
Like Forrest Leachman was giving me
Oh, man,
notes
he's
in the
like-
middle of scenes. It's, you know,
Funny.
You're supposed to be happy. Let's see it.
And go.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for taking time to talk with me. Really enjoyed the film, and I can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.